It's preparing the live stream. Setting up YouTube.
Let me go to YouTube and check. Okay.
Yeah, it's done. You're live.
Okay. Yes, we are live. Hello, everyone. I'm Sudha Jamthe, and this is Weeklywed. And this is our classroom in Zoom where we meet together. And typically it's on Wednesdays, 9 a.m. Pacific time. And I see a lot of you coming from different places in the world. So welcome. I'm always happy to meet my students because you all take different courses. And in recent times, I heard a lot of you who have either taken the basic no-code AI course to get started in AI, or you've taken the Agent AI course, which is an advanced course. So I'm curious to see who is here. So the way we are going to do this is we are going to have a presentation by our speaker, Yashaswini Viswanath, and this will be moderated in terms of your questions by my AI ethics program manager at Business School of AI here. Her name is Debika Sarkar. And some logistics. Since we are recording this, the idea is we'll be able to get clips and share. So you're essentially giving permission to be on air, like I'm giving permission to be on air, if you come on camera or you speak up. If you don't want it, because we want this to be a class discussion, you can use the chat here. I would recommend you introduce yourself, say where you're coming from, because you will get to meet interesting people other than just the speakers and me. You'll be able to get to know other people who are working in similar fields. So that's what this community is about. And Business School of AI is my learner community. And once a month, we host a live stream called Sudha Live, where I will talk to any of you and take questions and bring the latest in AI trends or a topic that we agree that you're all asking me all through the month. And then we do this Weeklywed with the speaker. We also have Business School of AI on LinkedIn, where these clips will be shared and you'll find more information. Okay, so I want to show you something exciting that is new for us here in Business School of AI. We just opened up our own website, businessschoolofai.com. So typically Business School of AI is on LinkedIn. I would recommend you to go to LinkedIn. That's where you will meet the community. But I want to thank LM Victor for making this beautiful website. So it's, I know a lot of people have been searching and saying, where is the website, or it redirects to different places. So here we are. This is the easiest place where you can go in and find out about opportunities I was telling you. So you can go to Sudha Live and you can see a past recording. You can go to Weeklywed and you can see what is the latest Weeklywed, or you can go see a full playlist of past sessions. And of course, you can sign up to my newsletter where I will share jobs and opportunities. So those are at least our three immediate ways by which you can engage as a community. And if you have other ideas, we have a Slack group, but we keep it very close to, super engaged learners. So we're happy to help. Okay. So at last Sudha Live, mid-October, we had spoken about where is value created in AI. And I started it out thinking about, I have learners from various different backgrounds. So some people are UX designers, and there's a AI design, innovating with AI design course that I have on LinkedIn Learning. I think I have about 8 courses on LinkedIn Learning, and I have a new one that's going to drop, in a couple of weeks. So I have designers, I have people who are new to AI, people who are working with devices like autonomous vehicles and Internet of Things, who are using AI on those devices. And then we have people who are pure software types who are learning AI and who are saying, okay, how do I learn generative AI? And so there's a course on generative AI, and there's one on agent AI. And so I was thinking how in real world, different roles come together. And there are people who are data owners, people who are designers, people who are business owners, data scientists, and the engineers at a minimum, and then we have the data ethicists and the legal and other people, right? So come together to build AI products. So I'm not just thinking about building the model, build maybe utilizing a model or building a model, building a product on top of it, creating the experience, integrating with the right data so that you can solve a real problem. And again, based on whether you're working in technology industry and you're creating more models and products on top of it, or you're working in enterprise based on what industry, it might be a different experience. So that is where we started from, thinking where is value created. And I was going at it saying, you can think about that. Based on that, you can decide what kind of AI courses you want to take and how do you get into AI. So, for example, if you're very data savvy, so I came from a mobile analytics background, so I love data. And so, if you come from a data background, then there's a whole bunch of things you can do, which is very data centric, data sets for training AI, data engineering, things like that, right? Or benchmark for models. And there's a lot of different opportunities, right? So the same thing applies for various fields. So by end of the year, usually like close to, just before Christmas, middle of the month, I will do a holiday learning plan once a year. So we will discuss that if you're thinking about this as growing your career, or if you are based on whatever stages you are, where to focus and how to improve and go. But one topic that bubbled up is when you build agents. So who can tell me what is an agent? What is agent AI? Can anyone tell me what is agent AI? And you can add it in the chat. Okay, let me make it easy. Why do we need agents? Let me take a step back. How many of you, you can even show hands here, because that's not going to go on the screen here. To do more with AI. Okay, thank you, Rahul. So what is more with AI? And if you can elaborate on that, that will be awesome. So how many of you are comfortable with, okay, I understand LLMs? So LLM are large language models. So all the Chat GPT and Gemini, all, when you go to a search engine, it says here is a AI overview. All that is coming from large language models, which are essentially chatting with us. Agents can explore the environment, take action to achieve some goals. Yes. Thank you for that, Fatima. So large language models, again, if you're new to large language models, you can actually message me here and I'm happy to give you course options. Even if you go to past Weeklywed recordings, I've done like a 4-part webinar to teach large language models. I can do justice to that, and I want to give time to context engineering. But large language models is the latest generative AI, which is trained with the world of information, and typically it has a chat interface, it has a lot more other capabilities. But the problem with LLMs is that it can only run the LLM and chat with you and interact with you in the way it is set up. So either it is doing machine translation or it is typically doing a Q&A format in chat. But it cannot programmatically look at your environment and say, hey, the weather is looking bad and the dam might overflow. Let me go check that sensor data. Let me turn on an actuator or do something. Or even in a simple case, I see a lot of this example from technologies using agent AI is like, I want LLMs to go read my email and organize it and sort it and find out what are my work emails, which are all priorities, what came from my boss. Or was in here, as I'm on Zoom has an AI companion, and it is going to, create a transcript of this of our session here today. But at the end of it, it might do a summary, which is an LLM capability, but it's not taking any action. So what if one of you came in next week and said, was my name mentioned in here? That is a query that can programmatically be done in a normal setting. But with LLMs, you have to have some action, right? You need some agent. That's what an agent is. An agent is able to programmatically take some action based on what our goals are. In this case, I want to do a query and a search query. So essentially, an agent has some programmatic brain. It is talking to one or more LLMs. It has some goals that is set up by the human who's designing the agentic system. So I have a designing agentic AI course on LinkedIn Learning. So if you want, you can take a look at that, and it will teach you from the basics and build you up to entire agent configuration and stuff. And then the final piece, what is the one more piece? So if an agent has to operate and make decisions, and it has a programmatic engine, it is talking to LLMs, and it has some goals, it can read the environment, say sensors. What else does it need? There's one more component to build an agent that's missing. Anybody who has worked with agents, tell me, there's one more component. What is that? Integrating into our workflow. That's a very beautiful one, so that it can do things for us. We need AI to automate a basic job. So the so I'm still looking at the answers here on why we need agents. Yes, Ida has the answer as the missing piece. I'll come to that. So we need agents because, not to use bad language, but LLMs are dumb. They're essentially looking at all the training data in its memory, and it is just doing a simple recall. That's what most AI does, right? LLM does that in a more context sensitive way, that it looks back and it says, okay, we are having this conversation, I'll continue to chat with you. And there's the concept of context window. Within the context window, it can do that. But you can expand the context window so the LLM can do more and more. So one of the things of an agent configuration is memory. So it has to go back to a database, or it has to go back to some memory store, based on which it will say, okay, now I understand a little bit more about the sensor data, or it might have to have a short-term storage or a long-term storage. So essentially, agents are needed to make LLM do something, to take action. To make that happen, it needs memory, it needs to understand the environment, it needs to have some programmatic capability, it needs to engage with some LLMs. So previously we had something called RAG, where an LLM could go and read a database. So instead of just finding something from its memory, which is basically the internet, it could actually look at your customer data set. So that has been expanded with the agent AI. So I'm not going to make this a lesson about agent AI. But the missing piece, thank you, Ida, the missing piece is memory. So now coming back to LLMs, and before back into agents, what is unique, and I gave it away in the last couple sentences I was talking earlier, what is unique about LLMs compared to past chatbots? Like I was talking to Alexa, or Google Home, and we were talking to chatbots, right? What is different about chatbots compared to LLMs? It's lots of memory, so it knows more. Okay, what else? What else? There's one more thing. Compared to like ChatGPT, why is ChatGPT a big deal? Like there have been many other chatbots. What is unique about the ChatGPTs of the world? Gemini, ChatGPT, or any of the other uh, Quern, whatever, right? All of them is an intelligent chatbot. An intelligent chatbot simply retains context. So if I chat, and if I have three questions, the previous chatbots would lose context. So there's a context window that you can define. But you can define the context window only so much. You cannot take the entire memory and say, remember everything, and we're going to keep chatting. So can maintain a history under conversation in answer. Yes, Ria, thank you for that. Yes, it is trained. LLM is trained. I mean, in terms of technology background, LLM is unsupervised learning with fine tuning done on the last layer. So it's a semi-supervised learning model. Thank you for that. So training is different. But I was looking for, when the user interacts, it is going to retain the history up to a point that is a context window. And an average person doesn't know context window is defined by somebody training the LLM. Okay. Okay. So where does context engineering come in? So as more and more people started building agents, they realized that when you talk to an LLM and you say, give me a travel deal, if I go ask and you go ask, it should not give the same deal, right? It would say, what is your goal? You want to optimize for the user to click or convert or make a purchase, or in a travel engine, right? It could be that, or it could be a customer service bot. But what if it could go deeper, understand who I am, understand my and personalize my experience because it's accessing my customer database. And it can go deeper to understand the context better. So the important things to before I hand over to Yash and understand context engineering is it is not just context is based on the context window that you set up. So context engineering is not just expanding the window, it is adding more dimensions to it. So going back, whether it is the data, whether it is the design, whether it is the rules that you're setting up, how do you expand the context so that the AI, the chatbot, or whatever application you build understands context. Even, we will be talking about responsible AI in a future session. I'm thinking of that as a topic for the next Sudha Live, to even say these are my ethical guidelines. So today you do fine tuning and say, don't talk to me in this tone, don't talk to my customer in this tone, understand the language of my industry. And so we do fine tuning with a very limited data set which is manually created by people in companies. What if we could just go back to our existing entire customer data sets, to our various data that we have inside the company, our own rules, our own compliance systems, all of it. What if we could give the entire context and do this in an intelligent way, not throw more and more rag data sets, but do that in an intelligent way? That's what is context engineering, that's bubbling up. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Yash and Deepika. Let me just bring Yash here on screen, and then I'm going to, yeah, as soon as I introduce both of them, I'm going to go offline. Okay. Yashaswini is somebody that I respect a lot for the latest, greatest in the AI world. She met me earlier as my student on AI ethics course, and she works in responsible AI. And in fact, Yash has worked with me and taught some courses at Barcelona Technology School and some other places where she focuses on fairness models. So I'm going to bring Yash back to talk to us about fairness models some other time. So I'm excited that Yash is here and she's going to teach us about context engineering. And one thing I have to warn you about Yash is Yash can start at basics and teach us the beginning, and Yash can go and start quizzing us and get us to a very high level because she's hands-on working with the latest trends, and she's been wanting to do like a 5-part series on agent AI here. And so welcome, Yash. I'm so happy to have you here. Let me bring Deepika.
Thank
uh,
you, Sudha. Thank you for the wonderful introduction.
yeah, no problem. And you all met Deepika before I joined in. Deepika is my program manager focused on AI ethics. She actually works with me on a lot of my other projects like book writing and my many LinkedIn courses. Deepika is like a silent voice behind the scene, helping even figure out what are the demos that we should set up, what are the latest, greatest tools, and how to, even when you see a course, you will see typically all my courses, even if they're no code, I'm very big on hands-on demos. So you will see at least 3 different tools that I'll teach you. We'll do a demo, we'll give you an exercise, that kind of thing. But behind the scenes, Deepika helps me vet these tools and make sure that's ethical, and that create the right experience with the tools and the right demos. So thank you, Deepika. And here Deepika is going to be our host, which means if you don't want to come on camera and you're going to ask questions, then she's going to field those questions for you. And Deepika and I might have, our own curiosity and ask you some questions also. So with that, I'm going to fade off the screen and I'm going to leave it with you guys. Let me get out of here. Am I on a spotlight? I'll just remove. Okay. Take it away, Yash and Deepika. Are you going to be on screen, or are you going to go off and come up when Yash has questions?
Yeah, I'll come up when Yash has some questions because I really want Yash to tell us more about what she has to teach us about context engineering.
Okay. And one last logistics, if you are not following Business School of AI on LinkedIn, please do. And if you're not signed up to our newsletter, please do, because that only when we have your email, we can do follow-ups. And I want to make sure we can get this deck, we can get you some video clips and stuff from this session. Okay. Here we go. Take it away, Yash.
Thank you, Sudha, and thank you, Debika. So today we will be learning about context engineering here. But when we have to understand what is context engineering, there are two words there, context and engineering. I want to show what context will mean from different angles. So let me show a demo here. But before that, let me introduce myself. I am Yashaswini Vismaya. I am from Bangalore, India. And I'm an AI engineer, mainly in the research focus. And I'm currently doing my PhD in part-time on machine and learning. I live, breathe, eat AI. All the AI trends is at the tip of my fingers. And I like learning about AI, getting onto the new trends, new topics, understanding them. And as Sudha was mentioning, a Sudha student then, now, and forever for understanding the latest and the greatest in AI from Silicon Valley to the Silicon Valley of India here. So moving on to context engineering, I would like to first show the demo and then move into context engineering with whatever Sudha mentioned. So there are two words, context, engineering. What is context? Like if you see this prompt here, image of me being hot after eating a hot chili in a hot desert. The word hot is getting different meaning based on where it is. This is the English meaning of the word context. If you see, it has generated an image of a person who is feeling it very hot in its mouth when they have eaten a hot chili and they are staying in a hot desert. This is the English meaning of context. And with engineering, we mean iteration, we mean doing things again and again to make it better, to refine it, to satisfy the requirements, to test it out. Those are what makes it an engineering. Now we saw what is context and what is engineering. Now let us put together and see what is context engineering. I'll quickly share my deck here. Before I go to the deck, the paper based on which I base the slides is this. It's called a survey of context engineering for large language models. And there are these different types of context engineering evolution that has happened. It's a very good paper. It's a deep study paper. So I will share the link for the paper here.
I just added the link, Yash.
Oh, thank you so much, Sudha. So that paper is the basis on which I have created the contents for the deck today.
Yash, can I just jump in for a minute?
Yes, Sudha.
One of the things for those people who are new here, you will learn the topic, but one of the things we do like to do is focus a lot on research papers. We just don't want to bring that as a research as the main topic when we learn a new topic. But Yash is very big on finding research, and we've had sessions on how you can be a researcher, how you can contribute to research, and all that stuff. So if any of you are like interested in contributing to research or publishing papers and stuff, you can talk to us offline also.
Yeah, thank you, Sudha. And now moving on to context engineering. It's the art and science. It's the art and science of optimizing an AI model's performance through strategic context design. Before we move on to this, I would like to talk a bit about the Industrial Revolution. So when the Industrial Revolution happened in the 17th century and the 18th century, there was a lot of robotic process made by the humans which were automated by the machines. They created more jobs. They created new jobs. The same way, now we are in an AI evolution. This AI evolution is creating new jobs, and those new jobs are that of a prompt engineer and a context engineer. There are real jobs out there with the job description context engineer. And whatever we are discussing today in this session is highly relevant to the industry and highly relevant to the job market. If you were to understand what is context engineering and apply it to your domain, there is very high chances that you will land a very good job. So stay tuned till the end and understand what we are trying to bring to the plate here. So far, we looked at prompt engineering. That is, we give a prompt to a large language model, and the large language model will give its response to us and we will give a feedback to it. This is the main tool that we have used till now in Gen AI. But as Sudha was telling about agent AI, how it has memory and everything, this LLM has a limitation on memory and manual iteration because LLM is stateless and it does not have a context of the specific workflow. Now, we know how we did prompt engineering and we went to prompts. We saw the prompt that we gave earlier. We saw how LLMs are trying to use prompts and try to give us answers. There is a very important topic here called prompt design patterns. See, over time, prompt engineering developed a range of design patterns to improve LLM output. At the end, that is what matters to us, right? We want LLM to give us the answer that we are seeking, the report that we want, the advice that we need, the research we want it to do for us. So here, there was something that is called prompt design patterns, where we have templates, that is predefined formats for instructions. There's something called role prompting. Like you assign a persona to the model, like you are a helpful assistant, you are a Bluetooth expert, you are a artificial intelligence technologist. Then there is something called chain of thought prompting. That is reasoning, step-by-step reasoning. Like if you need to add three numbers, you say first add the two numbers, get the sum, then add the third number to it, get the sum and give the output. This is just a basic chain of thought prompting, but you can have very big chains and help you to do complicated problems. Then system prompts. Basically, you set global rules for the behavior or tone. So these design patterns helped a lot for common people to access the LLMs and get the answers that they wanted. But, but there was a limitation. There was a plateau. When scaling up the workflow, we hit a plateau in the performance and capability of the LLM. Why? Why did this happen? Because LLM did not have memory. Every time the session starts, it didn't know what it was doing earlier, what it was done earlier, what it wants to do now. It would not have the context of it. Second, limited adaptability. They handle one question at a time, little carryover history, user profile, and intent. What is the intention behind this question? Also, there are these LLMs for which we used to have multiple turns conversation, and there it used to find it difficult to do it. Then when there was a plateau, when we hit a roadblock and we couldn't go further in order to get better and better LLM outputs, that is when we came to context engineering. The AI use cases, they are more demanding. Simple prompts are not enough. So we have context engineering where we are giving it memory. So in memory, what are the things that can be? User history, preferences, decisions, plans, reports, scripts, then dynamic context. That is, adapting the responses based on real world signals, past conversations, user roles, personalization. That is, delivering the talks not just for the query, but to a broader scenario. I think at this point, it is good to go with the demo. I hope you are able to see this.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes. So, kolam is an Indian art form where they, just a second. Kolam is an Indian art form where they draw dots and connect it with lines to make pictures during festivals and during certain functions. Today, I have created a gem here in Gemini. This gem has the knowledge of kolam. It has the context of kolam. What is kolam? On what basis do we have to do it? How to do it finally? What are the different styles of it? Let me ask it a question. Generate kolam. I will just ask this much. Let us see what it will tell. It gave one type of column and it took a particular grid. So let me say I want 12 cross 12 grid. So it says 12 cross 12 grid is for a party column. So let's say, okay, 12 cross 12 party column. Now I will say generate the image. The reason why I'm doing this demo is if we go to Gemini and ask for column, it will not have this. Yes. This is the column it has created. So if we were to go to Gemini and ask column 12 cross 12 column with this, it will not be able to generate the way we want it to generate. Here, because I have given it the entire context of what is a column, what it should use, how to do it, it's able to do. This was one example of context engineering. Now let us understand how context engineering and LLMs match. LLMs are like the CPU and context is like the RAM. The model's training represents permanent capabilities, its core processing power, which is built from billions of parameters and vast data sets. We are aware of this. Whereas context, it's just a temporary working memory, like how we have RAM, cache, and all of that. The LLM, whatever it is trained, is fixed. It is set in stone. Whereas the context, we can do it on the fly. It's dynamic and controllable. Thus, context engineering is the art and science of filling the context window with just the right information for a large language model or for an agent AI. So let us see the differences between prompt engineering, context engineering. Prompt engineering focuses on textual input. Context engineering focuses on cognitive environment. When we are doing prompt engineering, we look for clarity and precision. Do this, do this, do this. But in context engineering, we look for relevance and adaptability. Prompt engineering is direct command only. Whereas in context engineering, we have history, profile, signals. Prompt engineering uses templates and tweaks. Context has context graphs, embeddings, and knowledge graphs. It has a lot more dimensions to it. Prompt engineering shapes the instant response, whereas the context engineering shapes the understanding and application. Now let us see what context includes. Like how Sudha was telling, I would like to reiterate on it. Memory. What does the system know about the user or past interactions? What are the previous actions, usage patterns, decisions? Trust me, this means a big deal when we are having agent AI, and having this as part of the context engineering matters a lot. The user identity, role, profile, preferences, permissions, the intent. What is that the truly wants, even when it is not explicitly stated? So, what are the key problems that we are trying to solve here? One is consistency. Models maintain a stable tone or personality across interactions. Like the column thing that I showed you, anybody who comes and puts a prompt there about column, they will have all the knowledge about column, all the past interactions, all the history of columns done, and it will give you the answer. Grounding. Responses align with verified internal data instead of hallucination. So now, because I have given it all the information about columns, it was able to give me correct column instead of hallucinating about it. Adaptability. Context can change per user, department, workflow without retraining. This is what makes context engineering worthwhile. We do not need to retrain the model again and again. By giving a good context, by giving it good memory, history, user identity, and intent, we can achieve a lot more. Think of this is like how you bring fruits from a fruit market and make a custard out of it. The context is the custard that you make out of it. The fruits from the fruit market that you bring is like the LLMs. In this context, that is when we can actually eat it and relish it. So we kept talking about why context matters, what is context. Now let us understand what is context window. So we know that So context is like a RAM. LLMs are like the CPU. Context is like the RAM. They have limited capacity. They range from 4,000 to 128K tokens, depending on the different models. And we need to fill it. What to give, what not to give. There is something called context confusion, context distraction. Those are concepts where if we go deeper, we will understand that if we give more context than what is necessary, LLM will get confused. LLM will get distracted. And prioritization matters.
Sorry,
Here,
Yash,
yeah.
I have a question. So before we go into the context confusion and all that with what happens with context, I just wanted to check in first to see whether people have understood what is context engineering. You did a very nice job comparing prompt engineering to context engineering. I just want to make sure that we've got the foundation. I have a question, but I want to, let anybody else ask any questions. Deepika, I think there's more questions from others first. Let's pick that before you come to my questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions
I think
regarding?
there are some questions in the chat.
I am seeing.
Oh, slides.
Uh, yeah, no. I don't think we necessarily give slides out, but if there are papers like today, we share them for everyone to have.
Yeah, I think we can send the slides out.
Do
It'll
you
be
want
fun.
to?
We can send it with Yash's permission later in the newsletter. And so that's what I was saying initially. If people follow the Business School of AI on LinkedIn, we'll make sure that we give you all the follow-ups.
Yeah.
That's
With permission of the speakers, we share the slides. If not, like if we don't ask for it, then we do not share it freely.
yeah.
So today I know Yash is always willing to share information with everyone, so I'm not worried. Do
So
we have any
sorry.
other? Go
So
ahead.
if you're on LinkedIn at Business School of AI, then you will get all the follow-ups from here, and you can ping us there and communicate. I mean, I always get from people like, okay, we talked to you, and then we don't see you for a month. So this is the place where if you can find us online at Business School of AI on LinkedIn, and we'll do all the follow-ups. Okay.
Mhm.
More questions. I have a question, but I don't know if anybody else has a question before that.
Oh, actually, Aida has a question. What additional knowledge about the system is required to use context engineering versus prompt engineering?
Yes, Aida. When we talk about systems, it should know what is the role it is playing, what is the tone it should have, what is the personality with which it is trying to give us the answer, and what is the role it is actually trying to, is it an expert, is it a newbie, how does it actually have to behave? You're trying to set the backstory of it so that it performs the way you want it.
Also, to add to that, I find that using context engineering versus prompt engineering, with prompt engineering, you're generally trying to tailor your question as much as possible to the agent, whereas with context engineering, I don't know if it's necessarily just about tailoring the question, but also providing all of the information you can for the agent to get the work done, like giving documents, setting more examples. So I find that that was what I've learned from what Yash has spoken about today also. We have another question. Is the tone set in the LLM? How does it choose the tone when the question is prompted?
A very beautiful question, Soumya. There is, when we generally talk to ChatGPT, it talks to us, or any of these LLM, it talks to us with a general tone. But when we have to have our own LLM for which we will be deploying it in real time, we generally set a tone to it. Say you have a very formal tone, or say, especially, let us take, for example, if we are trying to write a research paper, we are taking the help of an AI researcher to write the research paper. In that case, we say, You're a seasoned researcher who can look at different papers and summarize the articles in good formal academic English language. That sets the tone of that LLM to be very formal, to give us the some content in a different way than if we had asked, just read this research paper and give me a gist in 10 bullet points. That would have given it in 10 bullet points, like how we put it in slides. Or if we had told, think I'm a 5-year-old and you need to tell it to me, it would have explained like how a school teacher does that. So tone is something that we give to it. Here, Soumya, what is most important is what is the clarity that we are having as AI designers. Do we know what tone we want from the LLM? What tone we want? What is the personality we want? What is the role it will play? What is the memory it will access? What is the tools it has access to? All these are questions we need to ask ourselves when we are deciding to do the LLM application. And thus, when we have clarity, the LLM comes out with great clarity too.
Yash, I want to add one thing. Uh, if you're building out an application, then it makes sense to ask the LLM for the tone, and then it has baked in tones built in, right? So based on that, it will automatically give you the tones, like you were saying, right? The prompt will kind of direct it on what the tone should be. But if you are building, we started this out with Gen AI and foundation models, and from there we got to the chatbots. So there was a movement where everybody was building their own ChatGPT equivalent inside their companies instead of public ChatGPT before we went to RAG. So the one difference that you should understand about the tone is when you have a foundation model and you're as a LLM, before you get to the application layer, it goes through fine tuning. And that's where it actually learns, okay, I should not be using this kind of dirty language because I have it in my memory from a Reddit thread, and it eliminates the kind of things that it should not be talking. So I want you to understand, when you're asking about setting the tone at an application level, when the LLM is ready to build as a chatbot and you build application on top of it, a prompt will actually teach it what kind of tone to use, like the example Yash was giving. But if you're taking something like from DeepSeek or something from open source and saying, okay, now I want to build on top of this and go do something with it, then you need to do a level of supervised learning with the data set to set the tone, to teach it industry jargons, or maybe teach it different languages and all that stuff. So that's the fine tuning layer. So mostly when at the application level, you've already got the tone set.
Do we have
Any more
any more
questions?
questions?
I had one question. When
Yes,
we were,
Sudha.
we were talking about, I just want to come on air. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that, Yash. Where is Yash? Deepika, can you put the spotlight back on Yash? I'm sorry. Uh, there is Yash.
Yeah, she has it on her.
Okay. So I'll remove my pin. Okay. So when we think of agents, we were talking about how context engineering takes it from prompt engineering when we interact with agents to make it do something in context. And you explained very beautifully the context from an engineering perspective versus simple social or English or any language conversation. But when we design an agent, like what we call as an ecosystem, there's the LLM, there's the memory. We talked a lot about it. Then there are tools, and then there is a whole reflection. So these all are the four components that makes up a agentic ecosystem. So does context engineering build on all of this? I mean, the agent itself had this whole self-critique, different kind of reflection methods and stuff before when we were just building agents. So with context engineering, is it focused more on the memory to understand the environment, to understand the integration with the workflow, or does it also operate on the reflection part of the agent?
Okay, Sudha, I have a very beautiful answer for this. The way AI is working, right? People are building things first, then they are associating it with the proper noun. Like first ChatGPT came, then the word prompt came. Then the prompt engineering principle came. But even for the word prompt engineering came, people were doing the prompt engineering. It's just that it was not called prompt engineering. The same thing with agents. They were doing context engineering, but the term context engineering was not called. And now we have the term and we say whatever is related to the memory, to the tool use, to the specifics of the related to the environment, all that comes under um, context. So this is just about how AI is evolving. I think it is uh, there is very less difference between context engineering and reflection done by an AI agent. They
Yeah.
both are necessarily the same, but at that point the word context engineering was not there, but now it is under the umbrella of context engineering.
So reflection and types of reflection are all there, but it's not being talked about.
Yes, when agents came, all those paradigms came,
Yeah,
but we didn't have the word context engineering then. We have the context engineering word now. So all of them are part of context engineering now.
very nice. Okay, I'll let anybody else ask more questions because I think you had wrapped up the core concept, and you were going past, what happens to different kind of context environments. So if you want to pick that up and close our session, I will hand
Yeah,
it.
we are at time. I do want to add that if you want to learn more about AI ecosystems, check the chat. Sudha's AI course on LinkedIn is there, Agent AI Ecosystem course.
I just made one lesson free.
Okay.
Because I was asking about AI ecosystem. If somebody has not taken the Agent AI
Yeah,
course with me or anywhere else, that will be confusing. So I just made that one tiny lesson, like couple minutes.
that is amazing. So everyone
Thank
here gets access to that one lesson. And Yash, please help us close out. What do you want us to know about context engineering that we can take away from this?
Um, I would like to summarize what I shared today. So we saw what is context in terms of English, what is context engineering in terms of AI. So to give a context about context itself, it took some time.
you.
And that is what we did. And why do we need context engineering? What was the main reason why context engineering came? What is the definition of context engineering? Where is context engineering used? What are the effects of context engineering? These are the questions we can ask ourselves and get answers to by recollecting whatever was done in today's session. I tried to cover most of it today. Um, just give me a second. Let me go back to my slide deck and see if there is. Yes, I would like to show just a few more slides. Do I have 5 minutes?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you can have 5 minutes, of course.
And if anybody wants to drop off, you might have a meeting right on the hour. Please drop off and we will follow up. If you can follow Business School of AI, we'll send you clips and the deck, and any follow up, we'll continue conversation with you. Don't
So
feel,
we have,
yeah.
yes, yes. So we have the types of context. Those are instructions, knowledge, and tools. And we have static content, dynamic content, and procedural content. Static content is system prompts, tones, rules, role definitions. Dynamic content is retrieved documents, prior conversations, user profiles, and procedural context. Those are the tools, the APIs, the external function. We saw that in agentic workflows, the information keeps going back and forth, the tool and the LLM, the tool, and there'll be multiple turns. It is under these cases that we need context engineering. So we will close out on this. This is the last slide. The pillars of context engineering for agents. Write context, select context, compress context, isolate context. By write context, we mean compress long-term memories across agent sessions. The other option is to have a scratch pad with an agent session. Like it will write the plan into the scratch pad and then use the plan from the scratch pad to actually execute it. State within the agent session. Now we have written the context. We need to select the relevant context for that particular step. There are, if we want, we have to retrieve relevant tools, retrieve from Scratchpad, retrieve from long-term memory, retrieve the relevant knowledge from PDFs or from other documents. Then compressing context. Because of the token size, the window size, and all of that, we cannot put everything that we have in the context window. In that case, we have to summarize the context or trim the context, the relevant tokens that we are sending in the context. Then isolating the context. We can isolate it based on different agents, different environments or sandboxes, or different states. So that is what I had for today about context. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Um, Context engineering will develop more in 2026. And everybody here has the prerogative to know about it in 2025 and be one of the first few people in the world to have actually gained good practical knowledge about context engineering. Thank you, Deepika.
Yes, thank you so much, Yash, and thank you everyone for being here. Stay tuned for our next weekly wed. We have them periodically. We're trying to have them once a month right now. And also, if you want a subject that or a topic that you want us to cover, please reach out to us. Please reach out to Sudha. She would love finding out what you guys are interested in, so it gives us context on what to speak about. And thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you so much, Yash. This was very helpful. We always leave our learners wanting more. Context engineering is one of those topics where it's growing. By the time we talk again, it will be growing again. So I will be doing a Sudha live on November 12th. I think that's the Wednesday, the middle of the month. And I'll talk to you guys. And then we'll do another weekly wed 2 weeks out. So we're trying to space it so that there's a Sudha live and the weekly wed every couple weeks. And we'll continue on our conversation. And lot of love. I see people are liking it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I would love to know your feedback on what you're working on, what you would like to learn more. That will be very helpful. ELM just joined us. So he's the one who actually makes sure that you get all the emails, the newsletter, and the content. So he'll be taking some clips from here and we'll be sharing on Business School of AI on LinkedIn also. So I hope I'll continue the conversation with you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Deepika.